Hey there, welcome to the QB Show. My name is Stacey Kildal, and my co-hosts are Woody Adams and Dawn Brolin. We want to ask you guys to take a couple minutes to visit each one of our sponsors and check them out. They've been helping us bring the show to you for the last 4 years. We have Avalara.com, making sales tax less taxing. They will calculate and pay your sales tax liability and take care of all of your returns as well. We have tsheets.com. This is probably the #1 employee-rated time tracking application on the planet, if not the galaxy, and an amazing team of people behind it. We have Skyline Hosting by UniDataIT.com. This is where we host all of our QuickBooks software as well as our other software like Microsoft Office. So please take a minute and visit them, and I hope you enjoy our show. We're live.
Yes, we are live on the internet. Thanks for watching. You're watching the QB Show, formerly Radio Free QuickBooks. Happy to have you aboard right now, or if you're watching anytime throughout the week on YouTube. Thanks a lot for your patronage and watching tonight. We got some good questions. We got some exciting announcements. First introductions. My name is Woody Adams. I'm a product specialist with Intuit, and been with Intuit for 10 years. Actually, I'm going on 10 years in the spring.
Oh, congratulations! That's awesome.
Yep, so that'll be fun, So that's me, and though Intuit's not really affiliated with the show, but the opinion statements or views expressed on the show may or may not reflect the opinion statements or views of Intuit. But we have a full lineup, myself, Stacey Kildal, and Dawn Brolin. Stacey, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing amazing. We went old school. I know you couldn't find yours, but you wore the next best thing. You wore
Wendy
the shirt.
got your back shirt.
That Wendy bought, which I love that picture. I love that picture. So Wendy Bloomberg bought that. That's one of the shirts that we got at QBC. Brolin and I are sporting our Radio Free QB shirts, which is what the show, for those of you who are new audience members, the QB Show used to be Radio Free QuickBooks because it was an all-audio podcast. Mm-hmm. And the reason we went old school tonight is because it's our 4th birthday. We started the show the week before Thanksgiving in 2010, and actually the date was November 17th, 2010. So 4 years. Who knew this would end up this way? It started kind of randomly on a conference call, and we can get into that story later. But we have some special stuff that we're going to announce in a little bit after we do our introductions. But I want to make sure, if you're listening to the show, make sure you go like our Facebook page. If you go to the QB Show or RadioFreeQB.com, either one works. Up in the top left-hand corner, you'll see a link to our Facebook page. So make sure that you go like our Facebook page, because that's all it's going to be. All it's going to take to be eligible to help celebrate your birthday.
Sweet deals.
Yeah, so we have, what's happening is we have
gifts,
birthday presents that we're going to be giving away every week from now until the end of the year. So to celebrate our 4th anniversary, our 4th birthday, we're giving gifts away to you guys. So all you have to do is like our Facebook page, and every week we're going to draw a random winner. And we have School of Bookkeeping is giving something away.
Nice.
Avalara,
SOB,
T-Sheets,
Unidata. Fundera is going to be giving something away. We have a special gift that we're going to be giving away, and we'll tell you about that at the end of the show. We want to give everybody enough time to go ahead and like the page so we get as many people on there and give them a chance. And then my husband is actually going to pick the random winner and tell me who it is at the end of the show. And then we have like a grand prize at the end of the year. And I'm not even going to tell you who or what it is. So you're not going to know what you get until we tell you what you get, but just know it's really good stuff. So we want you guys to celebrate our birthday with us. And that's a big, huge announcement. It is our birthday, and we have birthday presents to give away every week from now until December 30th, 2014.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It was taking a while to sink in. 4 years. That's 4 years of Wednesdays and then Tuesday nights. That's a lot. That's some good commitment there, conviction, and I'm really enjoying that. I was thinking back. Do you guys remember who our first guest was on November 17, 2010?
Well, we didn't have a guest the first night, but the next week we had Michelle Long.
Well, I thought Jim Buffington was on our first show.
I don't know. Maybe he was, and it just wasn't announced. Did we have Buffington on?
I think so.
I
We
think
did.
so.
I think
You know,
we did.
we even had Laura Madeira on back in the day, I think. We had a lot of people on. Allison Ball, of course, Joe and Doug, and it's
Yeah.
been great. It's been a lot of fun. But hopefully the format, and even the format change, has been exciting, and that we're still giving you guys some content, and it's fun, you know?
Yeah.
Stacey, I do have a question. Are we working on, like, somehow to get podcasts out of the show? Is that
We have
like on the roadmap
podcasts,
sometime?
and you can do that if you actually you can go to the archive page, and
Okay.
all the old audio podcasts are all on iTunes. Thanks to Unidata, they made that happen for us. They
Nice.
were our very first sponsor. They are amazing.
Yeah.
UnidataIT.com.
Yep.
Fantastic support. All your hosting needs.
Right.
So Unidata actually took all of the audio, and they're hosting it. And they put it on, and I think it goes back to the beginning of 2013. I don't think it goes back all the way.
Okay.
I just looked on there the other day, and I could see all the way back
Yeah.
to like maybe January of last year. So you can listen to a lot of those old archives on
Cool.
iTunes. And all you have to do is go to our archive page, and if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's a link to all the shows on iTunes.
Well, thank you, Unidata. That is awesome. And then, Dawn, I know you're feeling a little under the weather. Wanted to give you a break, but how are you doing?
Hey, you know, I'm upright, which is the first well, I was semi-upright at the doctor's office. I was considering laying down on the floor.
You were having a rough time.
I had a rough day. I've had a rough few days, but you know what? I'm just going to rest, which I never do. The
Good.
team is, you know, Team Powerful Accounting is taking care of business. Stacey's doing, I should be sick more often. I think more gets done in life. I'm not talking about Stacey, but with my accounting team, they just take over. So I think maybe I'm in the way. I think that could possibly be my problem, is me. Right?
Yeah.
So
Possible.
it's possible. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, things are awesome. I will say that last week we were fortunate enough to go down to visit a new client that we've taken on, and we're doing it. I'm just saying that we're doing it as a volunteer. Some work for volunteer. I don't really even know how to say it. I'm not even on, really. I didn't take the cough medicine yet because I knew I would make no sense. So I decided maybe I should have. But the Jessie Lewis Choose Love Foundation,
Yeah.
a woman who lost her son in the Newtown tragedy, and their foundation just needs some help with their accounting, with their processes, and getting some things together to help them. And so I brought the team. We all went down. We took a trip down to
Wow.
Newtown, and it's you know, you sit there and you say, wow, you know, that's why we do what we do. We help businesses, we help people, we hopefully make lives better, and that was a situation that we're very humbled to be even involved.
Yeah.
And hopefully changing the lives. I mean, I get the WFSB alerts on my phone for things that happen in Connecticut, and the stuff that goes through the TV or whatever. But there's so many situations that happen in our schools, and so she's really just trying to make a difference to try to help educate kids and help kids learn to choose love. So that's probably for us the best thing that happened to us in the last week is having that opportunity. And we love accounting and we love helping people, but there's nothing better than that, period. And we haven't spent a lot of time. Obviously, I'm just kind of directing the ship right now, but the team's taking care of it, is to bring on some of the different applications to help them streamline their processes. And certainly we've reached out to a couple. Bill.com has gotten involved. We're in the process of reaching out to Unidata and some others to just help this organization thrive as best they can and stuff. So I talked too much already, but it's just been, I mean, that's what we're all here.
Too much.
Was that too much?
No, it's awesome. It's a
No,
good update.
I said you never talk too much.
What
No,
an
that was
amazing
perfect.
thing to be a part of. That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's just, man, as a mother, as a parent,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's all I can say.
It's hard to think about.
Nope.
No.
I don't want to be relatable.
Hey, You know, Don, I have a kind of a humorous story that might help. You know Ryan Byrne, right? You remember Ryan?
I love Ryan. Got
Ryan,
married. Really tall, adorable. Yes.
your old account manager.
Yeah.
Right. So
Love that guy.
he was walking by my desk, and I was telling him how I'm growing my beard out. Nick said I could grow a beard, so I'm going to do like a full beard, and I'm growing my hair too. And I was, yeah. So I was telling, since we're not traveling anymore, like till the New York Accounting Show in May. So I was like, yeah, Ryan, I'm going to, have a really long hair and a beard come May, for the New York Accounting Show. And he's like, really, who are you going to be working for at that show?
Oh, that's awesome.
I
love that.
That was funny, man. Now, what company are we working for? No, I get it. I'll clean up by then, I'm sure.
No,
but,
I don't think you should. And we'll put that tank top on you, and we'll do the show live.
And I'll be able to do it with some, what kind of pants? Yoga pants? And a tank top and this in my hair?
Yoga pants, but
all I can think of right now is Woody looking like the guy from The Hangover who carries the baby. And the baby.
He's a one-man wolf pack. Is that what you're saying?
Oh man. No, it's awesome. And Don, thanks for explaining that story and what you're doing now. Stacey, you also. I do want to get to an ACA update, the Affordable Care Act, and how it relates to QuickBooks and where you can go find a user guide for at least desktop. I have an update for desktop, but Stacey, you also have some cool stuff, particularly a client story you wanted to share.
Yeah, so we were at Sleater last week, and that's why you and I were not on the show. And Dawn got to guest host with Joe Woodard.
Yeah,
he filled in
Dawn.
kind
That
of
was
last
awesome.
minute. Really great. We want to say thanks to Joe. He's a big friend of the show. But I did an awesome, amazing session with Matt Rissell at T-Sheets at Sleater, and it was all about how to be a badass and how you have to, persistence is the key, and it's how you're going to be successful and all this other good stuff. And one of the things, I thought I was going to talk about one thing. I had a very specific thing in mind that I had planned on talking about until I got up in front of the mic, and I was listening to what Matt was saying. We had conversations about it before the actual session, and when I got up there, I decided to actually just kind of go in a totally different direction and not talk about anything that I had planned. And what I talked about, yeah, I know, literally like just totally had no clue what I mean, I had a plan and then I threw the plan out the window. And that's what we were talking about is, for a business, you have to have a plan. And so I talked about how Shannon and I, Shannon Ferris, who is basically my partner at this point, she's my partner in crime now, we really are driving forward with our plans for 2015, and we're really going to focus on working with just the clients that we want to work with. And one of the reasons why is we had a really horrendous client experience a couple weeks ago, and it's a perfect example of, just trust your gut. We did not do that. There were a bunch of red flags, and we weren't trusting our instincts on it, and it was because I had kind of a previous working relationship that was unrelated to Kildal Services, and it was, it was just kind of one of those things where I thought, well, you know what, there's just something going on. And we had all of these red flags, and I'm actually writing an article with some of the details about the client, but basically it came down to the fact that he was not respecting our time, he was not respecting our families, he wasn't respecting us as professionals, and I finally just pulled the plug on it. And even though we had billed him a prorated monthly rate for our services, and we had actually gone well above the scope of our engagement letter, I ended up just saying, you know what, I think we need to just sever this. I'm really sorry it didn't work out. And then I just refund him. I just sent him a refund. I sent him a credit memo. And just talking about that, and that's like it's very simple. So when you set goals in your business, and this is what I told the group, we decided that one of our goals next year in 2015 is to not work with clients that suck. And it may sound silly, and it kind of does, but legitimately, that is one of our goals, and we actually wrote that down, and it's on our plan for next year, is we're just not going to put up with clients that do not respect our time, our experience, the level of service that we give them. You know, you always have you run into clients every now and then who it's never enough, and that was the case with this. And we just don't want to deal with that. We don't have the time or the energy, and so that's kind of like what my point was. And I just want to thank Matt and T-Sheets and just everybody for Bill Gerber was there, and he talked about just setting goals. Cool. Yeah, Bill Gerber's an amazing person, and just, you know what, just set the goals, and they don't have to be, it doesn't have to be a huge detailed business plan. Ours it's a Google Doc. That's all it is, and we have it set up what our goals are for 2015, and we have it separated into what we're going to do each quarter, and then once we get into the year, we're going to take it month by month and look at them and review it often. And so that's really what it was, and it was a really such an awesome experience, and I just want to thank everybody who was in the session. What I was really surprised about is when I said, we decided that we don't want to work with clients that suck, the whole room just broke out in applause. So it was really kind of
totally relatable. Like, it totally resonated. Everybody got it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Exactly. And so I had no idea that that's the reaction I was going to get. And so then what was really neat is T-Sheets had a big kind of stand-up banner and a Sharpie, and everybody went and wrote what their goals were. And so T-Sheets is going to actually kind of follow up with them next year and see where they are in their goals. Yeah. So it was a really great session. So I just wanted to talk about that a little bit.
No, that is cool. I got to write down some goals. I never write down goals. I gotta write down some goals.
Well, they say that if you share them with people, you're less likely to achieve them. So if you keep them to yourself, you're more likely to achieve the goals. Write them down, but maybe if they're personal goals, maybe don't share them with people. That's what happened.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can share my surfing goal. I want to surf.
Yeah.
You know, at some point.
You totally can.
Be a surfer, not necessarily full time, obviously, because I'm not really an athlete, but you know, maybe one day buy a surfboard, and then maybe one day go to a place where there are waves, none of which is in Texas.
All about baby steps.
And then surf, even if it's just one time. Yeah, that's one of the things I get. It's a good goal to have. Well, good stories, both of you are very inspiring. Yes, Sleater was really cool. It was a very relaxed time for me. I had a lot of fun. I spent most of my time in the booth, and also got to talk to a lot of people and just hanging out, chatting with people that I've known for years, you know. And so I think that's my favorite part of Sleater, is just seeing people you haven't seen in a while. So that was really cool. Didn't go outside at all. I was in Caesars the whole time. Didn't go outside until I went to the airport. Didn't realize that until I went outside to get the cab, and I was like, hey, first time been outside since Sunday. Anybody else do that? You guys go outside? I didn't go outside.
I did go outside. I make it a point. I'm not a huge fan. I will say this. I'm not a big fan of Vegas at all.
No.
I tend to find it a very sad place.
Yes.
And it just, I don't know. So I have to leave. So Richard Ropa was not feeling well. He was on the same floor as me and in the same tower, because there's 8,000 towers, Caesar's Palace. So we were just down the hall, and he wasn't feeling very well. I think it was Monday morning, and so I did what Dawn did to me last year when she took care of me. She made me get out and go for a walk and get out of that stank casino air. And so Richard and I got up about 6:30, 7 o'clock, and we went for a walk. We just walked down the strip and came back. It was still stinky, because Vegas, I think, is stinkier than New York. I mean, Vegas stinks. And so, but it was at least fresh, stinky air instead of canned, stinky casino air. So I did get out, and then I got a little bit of pool time in the afternoon on Wednesday.
There you go.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, all right. Well, very excited about our birthday, and we're going to celebrate with the stuff we do. And we'll now. Are we announcing something at the end? Are we announcing something at the end of the show?
Yeah, at the end of the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did want to point out too that I've been sneaking some new QBOA videos out on Twitter. You know.
Oh. Yeah, I know. I
We're
saw.
we're doing CPE training with Intuit Academy, so it's no big secret. And I think most people who watch the show have seen at least an overview of the new QuickBooks Online Accountant coming later in December. But it's odd. We usually don't, publicize things before they release. But I've been sneaking out some things, a client dashboard, and when you're adding staff and stuff. So look for that. We're gonna put videos out on the QB Show YouTube site. Make sure we're all kept abreast of what's happening on December 3rd. So very excited about that. Now, I did want to mention one thing, and I'm going to share out the ACA, Affordable Care Act. So I want to share out my screen. And this user guide, it was created last year. It's not new, but I wanted to make sure that people knew that it existed. And you can get there from a KB. If you just go search ACA at quickbooks.com/support, you'll find this user guide. But it has everything you need to do in desktop QuickBooks. So the QBO payroll, I think, is different. I have not found what you need to do with that because I think there's an employee limit on who has to report. Don, you probably know more about that. Is it over 50 employees or is it over 250? Yeah. Okay, over 50, right. So a lot of QBO company files don't have that many employees, so you might not even have to do anything. But in desktop, you're going to have that. And for tax year 14, it has information on what to do. And there's basically 5 things. Obviously, make sure on the latest payroll update. How do you want to report? And then just set up a company contribution payroll item. And the whole thing goes through that. And then you can add it to all employee records, so it's on every paycheck. And that way you can track how much you pay in health insurance, etc. Or you can do it manually by liability adjustments. But I think the setting up a company contribution payroll item with a new tax tracking type is the best way. And as you go down, it just gives you like screenshots of what you're doing, so you guys know how to do a payroll update. But then the payroll item thing is down here, which you guys probably already know how to do anyway. Anyway, and what I found interesting is that you also create an account, and that's going to be for both the expense and the liability. Don, how are you doing it in QuickBooks? I'm assuming you guys have already been doing the ACA, or is this year when it's really coming to town, if you will?
Hello. Okay, there you go. No, I don't have anybody that qualifies for it at this point, so
okay.
We don't have to deal with it. We don't really handle a lot of payroll. If we do, we set them up with into a full service payroll.
Nice.
I'm this is for us. Some people make a ton of money on payroll, and I love that. Good for them. That's not my profit center. Right. So.
No, that's good. And because I just always have this memory of you logging into someone's machine at I think it was 2010 or 11 Sleater and doing
those days. Yeah, those are kind of like when you used to have a really bad haircut. Go back in the 80s and somebody throws it on Facebook and you're like, oh. That's kind of how I feel about logging in and doing payroll.
So that's when you had a mullet? It was like you had a mullet then? Yeah.
What's that?
Those were your mullet years?
Those were my mullet years, Woody. Man, it was not pretty. But you know what?
I like that.
I always say, you know what? In the beginning, when you start your company and you're doing accounting, you're doing bookkeeping, you're doing these things, you're going to do a lot of things that you don't realize maybe 5 years from now. There's things I'm doing now that in 5 years I will not be doing. I already know that. But, when you're first starting out, you're going to do what you do well, and you do what you do best, and you do what you need to do to make money.
Yeah.
And, eventually you figure out that you can make money doing things you like to do, which is
that's
cool.
Awesome.
Really cool.
So I'll tweet and I'll at the QB Show that link to download the user guide for desktop. Again, QBO I don't think is going to run into it as much. I mean, I would even ask Stacey. She's like, yeah, we don't really run into the ACA issue, but I have talked to some people internally, and they are thinking about doing something for QuickBooks Online that'd be similar, some kind of guide or something of what you'd need to do. So wanted to make sure that was out there, and you guys have that as well. And now we can kind of move on to some product questions finally. Let's do that. Now, Stacey, I'm going to ask you one if you want to share out too, because I know I think you were the one that came up. Someone asked us, hey, how do I run a vendor paid bills report in QuickBooks Online and what bills were paid. So you know how in desktop, you know, you can do a check detail and it's like a bill payment and then the bill, and they're kind of linked there. It's really easy to see, and I think we do that for like which payment was the invoice linked to and the deposit. There's a check detail workaround. And so I thought it was similar, but it wasn't really. It's just vendor paid bills report and what bills were paid. And a bunch of us were on this, throwing out different reports, filtering things like transaction list by vendor, unpaid bills detail, and then changing the status to paid, you know, vendor balance detail, and you know, clicking on lists and multiple transaction types, paid, you know, bill payment and bill. But then Stacey, you came up with just a very simple one that actually won the day. Do you want to show people what that was? Vendor paid bills report. Okay. What bills were paid? Cool.
Oh, and you know what? Before we do that, I'm trying to log in, but I'm having a problem with the CAPTCHA. I'm logging in. We have a really cool question from the audience. Bill Kennedy is saying, in the past 4 years, what has changed for you in how we do the show? And it's not, we still pretty much do the show exactly the way that we did 4 years ago, except that instead of doing it all audio and us calling in, we do YouTube. So we still prepare basically a production document, a show doc, every week that has the questions that we're going to talk about and any special things that we want to mention. If we have a guest on, we put the questions on that. We do share it now on Google Drive. We did not do that 4 years ago. We would actually just all have a separate Word doc. And then we're able to all view it at the same time, and we can all see what we're talking about, and we can see who's in there, and we can chat on the back end if we need to while we're in the document. We used to have a live chat room. We tried the chat room with the plug-in on our WordPress on our website, and it just was really unstable and pretty sketchy. So a couple weeks ago, we went to a live tweet chat, and I think that's working a little bit better. Everybody seems to be just as engaged as they were in the chat room. So really, we're just leveraging, I think, technology a little bit more than when we were 4 years ago, and I think we were even leveraging it pretty well then, but we're just kind of fine-tuning it. We have a chat that we have separate. We've always had like a separate chat with the three of us, so we can say, okay, let's wrap this up, or hey, I have something, or hey, there's an audience question, or whatever, without sort of interrupting what's happening on the show. What do you guys, while I'm logging into QuickBooks Online, what do you guys think, aside from that, how we do it different?
Well, Dawn, did you want to go?
Woody, I want you to go first.
Okay. The big change for me, and I'm going to show you guys over the last, 5 years or something, that's had a huge impact on things, is my my backpack that I bought. I think I found it at a thrift store. You guys see that? And it's a regular backpack, but you can put your laptop in it, and then there's a place for keys and my badge to get into it. And then the little bottom section there is for my lunch. And, I usually have like an ice pack in there, and so that has been huge, and it's been really helpful when I travel too, because then I don't have to sling it over my shoulder. So I would say the advent of the backpack is a huge, a big shift for me in how I approach. All right, I'll stop. I'm sorry. I was really trying not to laugh. No, I think it's a great question, Bill. But no, the backpack has meant a lot. No, but what's weird for me is
I want to say this about the backpack. I recently went to the backpack system, so I've had a really nice leather. The reason I've not gone with the backpack for so long is that I haven't been able to find one that's like a cute one, and I like my bags to be sort of cute, and I don't want a functional backpack. I want a cute backpack, but that works also. And so I totally forgot when we moved. I had totally forgotten. I found it, and then I refound it again this summer. A nice leather backpack that you can also pull the strap up and actually make it like a crossbody bag as well. And so I have been traveling lately with a backpack also, Woody.
Yeah. See?
So that's also how we do the show. That's how we transformed it. Backpacks.
I mean, I think that's cool. And Dawn, you had something to weigh in, too.
I really just have something very important for those of you who are backpack users, that it is highly, highly recommended that before you travel with your backpack, let's say, with public transportation types of things, that you empty the backpack entirely and then repack it. And so that's just a recommendation from an experienced long-term backpack user. For those of you who are new
isn't in there, shouldn't be?
So that you don't have anything that may
don't think you're smart enough.
No, I'm just saying.
Don't think
somebody who. Okay. I'm just.
But I want to say one thing. Go ahead.
It's something that maybe should not be included in a carry-on. You want to make sure that all your liquids are less than 3 ounces.
Right. All those kinds of things.
Gotcha.
But I love that question, and I certainly want to give a quick little shout out to a new viewer today, Sharon McCauley, who's a viewer today. Brendan Morris, who watches the show on a regular basis, and I get so we love doing this show because we love interacting with the people. Like I'm starting to really figure out the whole Twitter thing, and I'm getting better at it.
Yeah.
And,
you are. I love it.
I was watching The Prophet last night, and I tweeted because it was coming up on the screen, and I was like, maybe my tweet will come on the screen. I was all excited about it. But they did retweet a couple of my tweets, so I was pretty excited, and they favored it, so it was really fun for me. But Bill, another thing that is kind of weird is that you can't just, put yourself on mute if you've got to go take care of some business or anything. So the show live has changed. I don't know, I guess I've always brushed my hair, but, I know I look different every show. I look really dressed up, ready to go, but we have to kind of, do those things a little bit different, and you got to
we actually have to,
I'm not really great at logging in. I'm not good at the logging in. I'm not good at the starting of the show. Those are things I'm still working on. Where it used to be easier to dial in, but I appreciate the question, and it's crazy that it's been 4 years, honestly.
And I want to say too that the showering is honestly a huge change, because we used to be able to do the show from our car while we were going through the drive-thru and ordering donuts. As we heard Dawn do that one time, we never had to really bathe before, and now we at least have to look somewhat presentable because it's on video. So I think showering and backpacks and Google Docs are probably the biggest game changers for the show in the last 4 years.
Hey, Stacey, this is a question too. Someone in the I'm going to say it's the chat room because it's what I'm used to saying. But
yeah, it's fine.
In the Twitter room,
yeah.
Somebody asked they want to know if the show is still archived, which is a great question. So just think of it as you're explaining it to me. Like have no clue, right? So
I gave her
to me how they can get there.
You're going to go to theqbshow.com or radiofreeqb.com. Doesn't matter which one. Up in the top left corner, if you're looking at me, you're the opposite. So it would be this corner of your computer screen, right? So the left corner, you'll see different links. You'll see home, a host page, our current shows that are coming up, and then you'll see a link to archives. And so you can go to the archives, and that's going to have links to all of our YouTube videos. We went to YouTube in May of this year. You can also just go subscribe to our YouTube page, and you can always go watch the videos there as well. But if you want to listen to the audio archives, if you go all the way down to the bottom, and I'm going to screen share and show this. Why did I not do that? Boy, oh boy. Sometimes I have good ideas.
And then do that report in QBO, because the other benefit is to be able to share out and show stuff in product.
Exactly.
Go right to the report. Yeah.
All right. So. All right, I'm doing a screen share, and so you can see here I'm logged into, I went to our radio page, our show page, and up in the top corner you see archives. So you just click on archives, and it's going to take you to this page, and you scroll down, you click on the link, and it's going to open up the YouTube video in a new tab. So if I click on this, it would open up over here. You scroll all the way down to the bottom, and this is where you can get a list of our audio archives, and it takes you right to our iTunes page here with our old school logo, which I love.
Oh, yeah.
They did our
Pretty
very
cool.
first logo. And so if you scroll down, you can see it goes back to the beginning of this 2013. So there's not all of them in there. If somebody is interested, I'm sure we can probably get them up if we get enough requests. We just haven't had that many requests, and plus I don't know that there's that much current content, because a lot of the stuff that we talk about might be a little bit outdated in some of those old episodes. So that is how you do it. It's easy peasy right there.
Very cool.
So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share out and show you what we were talking about with that report. So instead of doing any kind of transaction report or anything like that, what I like to do, and this is something that's actually been taken away, but I heard that it's coming back in some of the new releases coming up, but I don't know when. So you can go to the vendors, and if I just click on that vendor, I can see a list of all the transactions for that vendor. And so it's just going to show everything. So here's the bill. Obviously, here's the bill payment. This one only has, 3 transactions. I can take this and I can print this very nicely. And the reason we got asked this is because they weren't able to print all of the bills that were paid on a particular bill payment. They weren't able to show that on the voucher. And so Katie Peterson, who is another QuickBooks Online nerd, another Pro Advisor, she worked on the Pro Advisor cert exams, and she's been doing some webinars. She was like, how do I get that? What should I do? And this, I think, is the easiest way to do it. It just shows just a transaction. You can, if I close out that, you can actually go ahead and show, like different expenses. You can filter it however you need to. You can also take this and you can export it to Excel. So if you want to do that, let me flip this over here. Then you can pull out, if you need to, maybe I just want to look at the bill and bill payment, then I can just go delete the transactions that don't really have anything to do with the bill or bill payments that I'm sending out. So that was my solution.
No, right on. Yeah, I mean, because I was thinking of, there were reports, and she said that would work for that one client. But if you were doing a report, there are some reports that can be filtered to show bill payment check.
And I mean, if you have it and it's happening often and this isn't going to work, you can do a transaction report, or you can do, if you go to reports, what was the one that we were looking at? You go to all reports.
We all had different ideas.
We all did.
It was funny. I had a
transaction list by vendor. You can do a transaction list by vendor.
Yeah.
And then you can go in and customize it to that specific vendor, and then filter it for different transaction types if you need to, and then just memorize it if you need.
Yeah. Nice. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, I have a transaction list by vendor. Yep, that's the one that I came down with that looked the best.
And the other thing that I wanted to mention is you can do this with the customers as well too. And there used to be a thing where you could actually print it out, where you could have it show. So if I went into, say, Amy's Bird Sanctuary here, and I have it show all the transactions, there used to be able to view it in a way that would show you the invoice with the corresponding payment. So we actually I've had to use this where I've had a discrepancy between so it's really cool. So it would show like the invoice, and then underneath it, it would show the corresponding customer payment that goes with the invoice. So you can, if there's ever any discrepancy with your customers and you about whether or not an invoice has been paid, and that's what was happening. I had to match up all of the payments, and we found that one from the middle of the year just had been missed. And so as soon as I printed it and I showed it to the customer that way, they said, "Oh, let me get that payment to you. We're really sorry." So that's a really great view, and I asked them about that, and that is coming back. I just don't know when.
What's coming back?
The view that you can actually see the invoice with the corresponding payment, that is coming back to this screen.
To this screen. Oh, good. Very cool. Like that.
I love that, and it comes in really handy.
But
it's one of those little things that you don't realize are were gone until you needed it. So.
But for that check detail, the workaround you do in desktop similar in QBO, and that also works. It's just that instead of clicking filter, you click lists and choose your multiple transaction types, and deselect all the ones you don't need and just select invoice, payment, deposit. The only difference is that there's no detail level filter in QBO reporting, and sometimes you need it, sometimes you don't. But sometimes you definitely miss it. But very cool, exciting. So let's go to the next question here. And I think this is an enterprise one. I'm going to skip down. Oh, first, wait. Premier Enterprise, right. Open sales order by rep detail report. That was it. So we got a couple report. So she wants like a report that's structured like the sales by rep detail report would be. So I'm going to be an enterprise to do it. And I'm going to do a couple of, well, we'll come back later. Let me go ahead and share screen. Enterprise, I'm on my open sales order by customer. Right, so reports, sales, and then I have this one down here. And then you just add the column for rep, which will be there in the list. It's right, rep. And when you add that, then I have the ability, let me change it, oh, it's all dates, to sort by, and I can sort by rep now. So you could have, you have all my sales orders for the rep here associated, just like that, because I can slap a rep on a sales order, the rep field here. So that's pretty cool. And did want to mention, let me see if I can show this, that you guys will see in Pro Premier and Enterprise, one of the new things in 15, as I'm thinking about it, when you go to create an invoice for selected items, you can now uncheck something you don't want to bring to the invoice, so you don't have to like delete the line. And that's, I was showing that to Kemper today, and that's a nice little thing, because usually you had a bunch of lines, and you'd have to control delete them, which could be really annoying over time. Now you can just uncheck the box. Good stuff there. All right, so we have 2 reports down. Oh, here we go. Stacey, please help us with some learning. Then we'll go to Don. How do you save and send recurring transaction? Is it done automatically, and how to check?
No, you don't do it at all. I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. I love recurring transactions, and I did a training session today, and I went and I got a little gushy. I was gushing to this woman about how awesome recurring transactions are, to the point where I thought I need to sort of rein it in a little bit, because I really like this. So I use recurring transactions for all of our clients, our monthly bookkeeping clients, and it's really, really easy to do. You can do it 2 ways, and I'm holding up my fingers as if you can see me and not my screen. So if I want to, I can go use my Spinny Plus, which is technically called the Quick Create button, and let's say it's going to be a sales receipt, and it's going to be for monthly services. I can go in here, and I'm going to choose my customer. I'm going to select whatever the product or service it is, and whatever the price is. And then down here at the bottom of the screen, you'll see this little thing that says Make Recurring. So I can just click on that and say Make Recurring, and then I can have it scheduled. I can have QuickQBO give me a reminder, or I can have it unscheduled. So unscheduled would be, I usually use unscheduled for estimates or invoices. We have a process that we call Quick Review. We have a trademark process that we go in and we review your data and tell you what needs to be cleaned up. And then when we're done, we give you a report that says everything. You can, and a quote to have us do it. And then what we do is we apply the Quick Review price, cost that you've already paid us towards the fee to do the cleanup, because we'd have to do the review anyway. And so I have in my QBO, I have scheduled sales receipts for our monthly clients, and their credit card is stored in QuickBooks Online, and it gets charged with the receipt every month. QBO automatically emails it out to the client. I get a copy as well. So once we set them up and we sign the engagement letter, we're just done. So this is really great for any kind of recurring transaction that's the same over and over again. If it's something that you use often but you don't use it on a regular basis, you can actually go ahead and set it as unscheduled, and you can even remove the the customer, and I can not have the customer, so I can remove all of the customer information, and I can still give the template and still use it and then add the customer later. So this is, like I said, this is great for estimates that you use a lot if you order the same thing from vendors over and over again. And so once you're done with that, you're just going to go ahead and save that template. And so now you have that recurring transaction. To get to a list of your recurring transactions, you actually are going to go to your gear icon and then click the recurring transactions. This is going to show you all of the recurring transactions that you have, and you can see this is the one I just created. But this is also the second place that you can go to create any kind of recurring transaction. So all I have to do is click New, and instead of going to the form first, basically what I'm doing is just going to the list first and then choosing the kind of form. So you can see pretty much any kind of transaction you can do, and you can create, you know, to make it recurring. So I can do like a bill, or maybe I have a check where I know my rent, maybe I have my rent automatically coming out, you know, every month, so I can post that in there and say, hey, here's my rent, and choose my payee.
Nice.
Say rent, and I can just say that it's scheduled, and I want it to have it happen on the, you know, every month on the, you know, 7th day of the month. And then I want to have my start date the next month, and then end, and I can set either an end date of never and just have it keep happening over and over again, or I can say end by a specific date, or I can say end after so many occurrences. So it gives you some options, and then just save and close.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, someone could assign a customer field to that customer field on the check, and then that would be unbilled activity, and then have also a recurring invoice to pick that up all the time. And, you know what I mean? I mean, so you can really automate a lot of stuff in QBO for the invoicing flow. I really like that. Cool, and thanks for that. Dawn, I have a good one for you. You don't have to share anything out. It's more of a theoretical thing, because I was going to share out like an enterprise thing, but it's one that I think you'll really dig this question, because I think it's right up your alley. Reapply checks that have been cleared. So I had written out checks to a vendor, and obviously they're not bill payment checks because there's no bills associated. She didn't have bills; they're just checks. Those checks are already cleared when, you know, in a last reconcile or whatever. I must reapply those checks toward their bill. What are my options? I don't want to have to redo the reconciliation. So thoughts?
Well, that one's fun. That's a fun one. So they obviously they could use the client data review and do the fix the vendor payments. I mean, it depends if there's, especially if there's a lot of them. If there's just a handful, they can certainly just go in and mark the check towards accounts payable. So they've likely posted to office supplies, so they'll hit accounts payable. The thing is that when they do that, they will still have to go into pay bills. So when they change the account to accounts payable, they'll still have to go into the pay bills function to get it out of, you know, to have the cash basis connect and to link the two. So that's a really important step they do.
Totally. And thanks for that. Sorry about, I didn't mean to crash your voice, but thanks for that. Yeah.
Oh no, it's not. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I'm having some Fresca.
Wonderful.
I'm gonna go get another Fresca.
Yeah, Fresca. You know, I haven't heard that term since I was a boy. My grandfather used to use it a lot. I haven't really heard that. Yeah,
lemony.
That's a good one. No, very good. No, yeah, that's totally the way to do it, because pinging AP on a check will debit AP, and therefore that's a vendor credit, so then you can apply it and pay bills. And it doesn't, I was testing it today, it does not undo the cleared status of the check.
That's correct. That's the great bonus. Same with the if you're cleaning up undeposited funds and people are posting directly to deposits, it's a similar situation, so we don't have to do the re-reconcile to bring in those payments and then delete the line that shows the revenue. And so there's kind of some cool tricks there. Maybe we can show that next week.
Yes.
It's you know, it's not a tough one, but it's kind of a fun one, because again, it doesn't mess with the reconciliation. And I still find I'm showing clients that, you know, as I'm cleaning up or doing something with them, they don't They don't realize it's there, and it makes me look wicked smart.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You know, so
Smart, like
that's
Tom
what
Brady.
you know, Boston. Hey, Patriots, good win on Sunday, buddy.
Oh, they are just really rocking, aren't they?
Getting it
Yeah.
done. Sorry
It's
about the
exciting.
Broncos. You know, we can't. Sorry, Matt. You know.
Sorry, Wes. You shouldn't have held out. You should
Are
have
you guys
stayed.
talking about football?
Yeah.
You're talking
Okay,
about
I'm going to interrupt you because we have a winner. Kevin just came down to tell me who he won or
Nice.
who he picked.
Can you say hello? I want to say.
Yeah, is he going to come in the view here?
Yeah.
Hey, Kev.
Yeah, there you go.
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah.
This is Kevin, and he
Nice.
picked the big winner tonight, and the big winner is, say it into right here.
Christine Galley.
Yeah.
Oh!
Very nice.
That's
That is awesome.
So that is
Awesome.
pretty
Wow.
awesome
How about
because
that?
Christine Galley is actually a fellow Michigan lady. She
Yeah,
lives
that's right.
here in the Mitten.
Oh, that's awesome.
So she wins our prize. So we're giving away our prize this week. And next week, Seth David will be on to give away his prize from School of Bookkeeping. But tonight, Christine actually gets to come on the show. She's going to be a special guest or guest host, depending on what she wants to do. We're going to make the show hers. She can either get interviewed or she can just help us answer questions. It's going to be the whole Christine show.
Cool.
I also we have a special gift that I'm going to send to her.
Awesome.
And it's this awesome. I love these gifts. They're really cool and they're very neat that we're giving. And then because she's a cold weather person, I want to send her a pair of fleece leggings.
Yes,
So I
fleece
have
leggings.
discovered, I'm just going to let you guys know, Kohl's has fleece leggings, and it's like wearing a small pelt on your leg. So instead of just regular pants, they're the leggings. And just so you guys know, it was 12 degrees here this morning.
Oh,
and
gosh.
I know I can't even, is all I'm going to say. And so I know that Christine is going to need them. So I'm so ridiculously excited that Kevin randomly picked, because I just told him to go on and I gave him access so he could see who likes our Facebook page, and he just randomly picked Christine. So I will connect with Christine. I'm so excited that she wins. I can't wait. And then next week we'll have another random winner chosen. All you have to do is go like our Facebook page. If you go to radiofreeqb.com or theqbshow.com, just left-hand corner, you'll see our Facebook page. Go there and like it. And every week from now until December 30th of 2014, we're picking a random liker of our Facebook page to win. So we make it really easy. You don't have to fill out anything. All you have to do is go to the Facebook page and click like, and you're eligible to win. So there's a cat. So if you guys have a cocktail, you should maybe take a drink, because when you see a cat behind me, it's time to drink. So.
Well, hey, congratulate Christine. That's awesome. Very good stuff.
I'll get a Fresca.
Love it. Yeah, get a Fresca. So we'll, thanks, Kevin, for that, too. Let's roll on with another question. This will probably be the last one for the night. This is a desktop question. QuickBooks Enterprise. It has to do with bin tracking. Shelves and bins, part of advanced inventories, you guys know. And the question is, let me find it here. How do I remove some of the bin locations that are associated with an inventory item? So when a customer is invoiced for an inventory item, a drop-down appears on the invoice. I'll show you guys when I get in the product, with options as to which bin location the item should be pulled from. Is it possible to remove the bin location that are no longer associated with the item? So yes, you can actually make the bin inactive, and it'll fall away from that drop-down. I'll show you what I mean by that. But definitely transfer the quantity from the soon-to-be inactive bin to the bin you want it to be. But I wouldn't delete the bin. I mean, you could, if you have a bunch of transactions with bins on them, and you might want that history, on reports, make it active again, run some reports, and sometimes inactive elements show up on reports anyway. So whether you like it or not, it's just kind of a bonus of QuickBooks. But yes, there is a way to do that, but not at the item level. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to go into the Hangout here. I have kind of a thing already set up. So I'm in Enterprise. I'm on my site list. I turned Advanced Inventory on, right? You guys know where that is. And it's an add-on by price, and it's a module, but it unlocks it when you go to Items in Inventory in Enterprise. It's Advanced Inventory Settings, right? And then here's, there's 4 things. Multi-location tracking, serial lot, FIFO, barcode. So, this is what I'm dealing with only. I have multiple inventory sites, so I want to track my inventory value and my quantity on hand and stock status across multiple warehouses. And within those warehouses, I have bins, row shelf for bins, right? I always think IKEA. You got the little pencil, you're writing it down. So I have that set up, and I already put some stuff in bin 1 and bin 2. And what they're talking about is when I go to, let's say, an invoice for somebody, and we'll choose Kemper here, and my item is going to be cabinet pulls, because I always pick on cabinet pulls. I don't know why. I mean, I use them a lot. But, here's the bin, right? So I choose the site that the person come in to sell it from. Here's the main site, and then it's going to be bin, I got 208 in bin 2 and 190 in bin 1. What she's talking about is wanting to remove the bin from the drop-down, right, so it doesn't show up. Now, if I go back to my item list, so we'll hold there for a sec, and I'll click on cabinet pulls, I can look at inventory site info, and I can set some defaults for reorder points, a minimum and a maximum, but I can't actually assign the item to a particular bin itself. So I can't come in here and uncheck the bin from the item. You know what I mean? I could put the max at 0, and then I'd get some weird warning when I was trying to order it, but that's still not what she's talking about. She wants to remove the bin from the drop-down and thinking from the item. So it's not at the item level, really, that it's applied. It's applied at the either purchase, receiving, or the sales transaction level. So what I can do is, you want to transfer the stuff over right now. Let me go back there again. So I got, let's say we're getting rid of bin 2. There's 208. So what I can do is go to inventory and transfer inventory, and I'm doing main site to main site. So it's a transfer within the site. If you were transferring to another site, you would choose another site, and then you choose the item or items you're sending over. And I'm going to do, where are you? Cabinet pulls, right? There you are. Cabinet pulls. And I have from bin, 2, and I'm going to do 208, quantity to transfer. So transfer them first, then make it an active. 208 each, and then I'm going to move it to bin 1. Okay, and that's not an accounting move, as Don will tell you. This is just there's no more value I'm getting. It's just, I'm just moving the product, right?
Yeah, you're
so
just
now I
moving
should have,
from one place to the other, right?
Right, so now I have 398 in bin 1 and 0 in bin 0. Now, bin 2. Now I can go to my item list, my site list, and just right-click and make bin location inactive, because I might want the reporting for later. Now when I go back on the invoice, let me clear it, kind of start over, and I got Kemper here, or whatever, and I choose cabinet pulls. Do the quick thing, cabinet pulls. And now the drop-down, when I choose main site, will be bin 1. So bin 2 is gone. So that's how I do it, and yet I can still keep bin 2 for a report if I want to make it active again or something, if it has history. If it has no history and you moved everything, then, and they just mistakenly created all these bins they don't need, then just delete it. And that's how you do that one. Cool. That was fun.
I love that.
That was fun. All right, so we have the bin 1 gone to how to remove some bin locations from the item. Again, it's at the transaction level. Turn that one red. And it is 7:28. Stacey, do we have anything to announce, or do you want to do another question?
No. The only thing I want to mention before I forget is that next week our prize is from Seth David and the School of Bookkeeping. So they have a prize to give, and Seth is actually going to come on right at the beginning of the show and announce the guest and just kind of talk a little bit about what School of Bookkeeping is and what they do. And I want to thank him for that. And again, all you have to do is go like our Facebook page, and you will be randomly chosen. And I'm going to actually have someone different every week choose the winner. We put this together. I put this together in 6 hours? I think I emailed you at 1 o'clock or right before 1 o'clock.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so we got I want to thank Intuit. I want to thank Unidata, Avalara, T-Sheets. Fundera, we've got Fundera. They're coming in and they are donating or giving away some stuff. School of Books, just it's amazing. And so everybody really replied very fast, so quickly, and I want to thank everybody. And what they're going to do is they're going to come on each week and announce it and just talk a little bit. We're going to, come on for about the first 10, 15 minutes and just talk. And so next week is Seth David from School of Bookkeeping, and he's got something to give away. So I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that. We can answer questions all night if you guys want. I'm good to go.
Nice. Well, that's cool. Let me do this email later. Sorry, I have this demo tomorrow for QBO. I just found out. So we'll keep rolling here. Quick one, and then we'll end the show. What Intuit check stock, checks and supplies, is compatible, I should say, with QuickBooks Online? Stacey, the only one I know of is Voucher. I know in desktop you got 3, standard Voucher wallet, but I think QBO is just Voucher, correct? Voucher style?
Yeah, that's the only one I know about. Yep.
Cool. Yeah. And you can order it actually from the bottom of a check now, or from the bottom of the print checks window, which you'll find under the vendors menu and Quick Create. So you'll find that there.
Or you can find an Intuit reseller like Dawn or myself, and you can
like Dawn or Stacey in order to do that.
Like.
Yeah.
We'd be more than happy to put that order in for you.
That's awesome. And lastly, just for fun, it's 4th anniversary. Do one more question. We do work in several states, so I created a class for each state to track sales and expenses, but they're unable to assign a class on the customer payment window. Now, they're in the new QuickBooks Online, and what I realized is, there's no class or location field on that, and or no class at least, but wouldn't the P&L by class pull the income from the invoice that has a class on it?
Yeah, it should.
All right. So then I guess I don't see why you need a class on the customer payment.
Right.
Unless you just wanted to look at payments by class.
I have a really good situation that I totally forgot about. We can talk about it tonight, or we can talk about it next week.
Yeah, sure.
It's up to you. No, we'll do it next week because it's good. It's gonna take a couple minutes. Just saying.
Well, it was exciting I'm glad we got to some questions and got to demo some stuff in product, and we just got to talk and chat about other things, both things you guys are involved with. Love Don's story about the offering the firm services to help out that business, the mom who lost her son with Newtown, and doing the accounting and clean all that up. That's awesome. I think Dawn had already done something like that, though, before. She went down to where did you go to? It was a different country. Remember after that hurricane, whatever, you and Kevin and a bunch of people went down?
Yeah.
Haiti. Yeah.
Haiti, yeah.
Dawn's always doing that cool stuff.
But Stacey, thank you to Stacey for all her hard work today.
Totally.
I couldn't keep up. I had to take a nap.
You did.
I had to take a nap, not because I didn't feel good, but because she was working so hard, she exhausted me.
No, that's awesome.
I did a webinar.
It was but it was awesome, and what I love about it is that everybody immediately wanted to give something away. Of course, certainly a holiday spirit too, and just again, the whole purpose of this show is to help people, and that's what we're doing.
Exactly.
Just a new show about QuickBooks. But Stacey, I want to thank you for all of that.
You know what? It wasn't any big deal. It was just some emails that I sent. That's no big deal. I want to say we started the show, and that's exactly it. We started the show so we could help people, and I'll tell the story for those of you who don't know about how the show got started. If you're a new audience member, we were all on a conference call about doing a webinar that was just kind of an Ask the Expert sort of thing. The 3 of us, me and Dawn and Woody. And Woody and I had a webinar to do shortly after the conference call together. And Woody said, I would love to do a show just like the Car Guys, which is why I was so sad to see the one that just passed away the other day, because that's kind of how the show got started. The Car Guys, only about QuickBooks. And Dawn and I'm going to say it, flipped our shit about it. We were so excited. And so we were, yes, that's what we need to do. We need to do it. Let's get it going. So Woody and I had about 2 hours from the time we hung up the phone, which, by the way, the webinar never actually happened, to the time that we had to do our other webinar about, I can't even remember what it was, maybe QBOA or something. We used to do those monthly QBOA webinars. I don't know when it was, but anyway. So we had a webinar that we had to do, And so within the 2 hours from the time that we had hung up the phone call, the conference call, to the webinar, I had the email address, the Twitter account. I had figured out that we were going to use Blog Talk Radio. We had scheduled a test run so that we could figure out what we were doing before we went live. We had pretty much it all set and ready to go, and the emails were just flying back and forth between the three of us, and it was hilarious because it was an hour-long webinar, and when Woody and we were so excited when we got on that webinar. It was like somebody was playing us on, like, super fast. We talked so fast in that interview. Do you remember? And we were done in like 40 minutes.
And someone was like,
we were just like, and then this, and then this, and then this, and this. I mean, it was just like, bam, 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 bam. And so that's how the show got started. And it was really because when Dawn and I first started, there was nothing, there was no resources. Now there's LinkedIn, and there's all sorts of stuff. Hector Garcia has training videos, and there's YouTube. And but when we started this 10 years ago, and even 4 years ago, there really wasn't anything like this. And so we really just wanted to help people. And it's kind of actually, it's really not just about helping other people who do what we do and teaching them, but it's showing them that, yeah, we all have sucky problems, and we all kind of deal with the same crap. And we all have also the same amazing experiences as well. And my favorite thing about doing the show is the connections between people that we've been able to do. A really great example is I was at dinner at Sleater last week with people who probably never would have ever met each other, but were so happy to meet each other because of all the potential work that they can do and just the friendship. And it was the reason that they were together is because everybody just happened to know me because of the show. So there was like T-Sheets people and Bryce Forney and Jason and Jan Huago. I mean, there was just all these people that sort of came together because I said, hey, I want to go to dinner. Who wants to go to dinner with me? And so that's one of my favorite things that we get to do is putting people together and making the connections that we get to make. So I just want to say thank you to everybody. All of our sponsors, Avalara, T-Sheets, Unidata, all of our past sponsors, Zencash, MavenLink, everybody, Activate, everybody who has supported us as sponsors, and also all of our audience members. It's so exciting, and it's my favorite thing about going to events is that we get to see you guys and meet you guys, and everyone that says, oh, I watched the show, or oh, I listened, we have to take a selfie. Like, let's take a picture together. And I want to make sure we put it up because we truly, truly, absolutely, positively love you guys. And I'm so giddy excited that this is our 4th birthday. I gushed. I was gushing. I'm going to shut up.
That's good. No, and thanks for listening. I know we went over, and Dawn, I hope you feel better fast. I'm glad your team is stepping up. It sounds like that's what they do, though, anyway.
They're awesome.
And then, so we'll see you guys next Tuesday. Keep wanting to say Wednesday. I mean Tuesday, and 6:30 Central. Same time. We'll have some other questions, and we'll share out and get into our products, both desktop and QBO. Have a great week, and look forward to announcing more winners next week. So, QB show out.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Peace out. See you.
No away thumb drives, no attachments. Get the files anywhere when you're permitted access. What's the matter? Frustrated with the hassle? Jump up in the cloud and join us in the castle.
High up in the clouds and we're